Great. And everyone is currently muted. Welcome everyone to the second festival training for this evening, where we'll be talking about youth exchange and youth protection. Tonight's presenters, we're going to hear first from Hal Beals from the University Sunrise Rotary Club. Hal's the district youth exchange chair. We'll be talking about the youth exchange program. And then following that, we'll have Mike Madden, who is also from the University Sunrise Club and youth service and youth protection officer. And Mike will be talking about youth protection. So everyone, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to type them into the chat window and we'll get those at the end. And other than that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Hal to kick us off.
Great. Hello, everybody, and thank you for attending this meeting. And we've got some slides, and I actually have a flag right in front of my slide that says this meeting has been being recorded. I wonder how I get rid of that. Not too sure.
I think you can just click OK or
continue.
Acknowledge.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Now I don't have the slide up anymore. I don't know what happened with that. What did I do wrong? Join a live Zoom demo. I flipped my way to do something bad. What do you think I should do? Can you hear me? Am I gone?
No, we have you, Hal.
Pardon me. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
I can't see any of the slides though. What have I done? What have I done wrong?
Yeah, I don't think you clicked on the continue. I think you clicked on something else.
Oh. It says get on the guest list. That doesn't sound good.
No, Henry, what do you think? Should he sign out and
wait, here we go. Wait. There I am. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay, perfect.
I am sorry. So I'm Hal Beals. Sorry for the interruption, technology challenged, but full of enthusiasm for Rotary Youth Exchange. We are in the process this interim period, and I say interim because Rotary International shut down Youth Exchange really kind of mid last year when it seemed that everybody was coming down with COVID around the world, and parents were panicking, of course. So all the kids came home, and it was a mad dash to get everybody back, but everybody made it safely. RI then decided that all exchanges would be canceled and not resumed until the Rotary year beginning in June of 2022. So the Youth Exchange Committee has remained active during this time, and we're putting our full energy into developing what we hope will be a long-term relationship with many clubs in this district. 25 years ago, and maybe even 15 years ago, many clubs in the district were participating in Youth Exchange in what we used to call the long program, which was a 12-month academic year program. But as time went on, that program became more difficult for Rotary clubs to manage, and participation really fell off. So we are going to rejigger the program. We're going to concentrate now on the short-term exchange, which is a summer-based program, a family-to-family exchange. This should be very easy for Rotary clubs to get involved with because their responsibilities are minimal and the cost is nothing. So unlike the old days when Rotary clubs had the budget to support an incoming student from another country, those days are going to be gone. We're also working very hard on a new program, which I will tell you about in just a minute, which I hope we will get your attention and indeed your support. So let's go on to the first slide, Henry, and take a look at that. So this is I think this is kind of a compelling statement. I'm going to read it if you don't mind. What 15 to 18-year-old high school student would pass up the opportunity to spend 30 days with a family across the sea for language, culture, food, and fun? It would be a summer that the student and family will never forget. Lifetime relationships are made, horizons expanded, and Rotary is in their lives today and tomorrow. We know all of this to be true. My many years of working with Youth Exchange, I know firsthand the value and the growth that comes to students who go overseas, even for as short a period of time as 30 days. They come back energized, their parents are energized, what they've done looks great on a college essay. In many cases, they can write their college essay just based on their experiences they had as a Rotary Youth Exchange student. We think that emphasizing the summer exchange program, the chance of going overseas for 30 days and then coming back home with your exchange brother or sister and hosting them for 30 days will be a lifelong experience that will not be forgotten. Next slide. So just a little bit about Rotary Youth Exchange, a little history there. So we do know that it changes worlds by getting involved with Rotary Youth Exchange. It's life-changing. We hear this so often from students and from family people when they meet with us on a post-exchange basis. Rotary Youth Exchange has been around since 1928. It's the longest continuing program of Rotary around the world. Some 100 countries are involved in Rotary Youth Exchange at various levels. We know that COVID-19 canceled all exchanges until July 1st of 2022, which is the next Rotary year. District 5030, that's us, as you know, places students for the summer program in Europe, United Kingdom, Scandinavia, Mexico, Brazil, and Taiwan. We have excellent relationships with districts in these countries. These are our most popular countries, by the way, with Italy and Spain being the most popular by far. We're going to unveil virtual exchanges, hopefully available in July or maybe a little bit later this year. Virtual exchange is exactly what it sounds like. Well, all of us are on a virtual exchange right this minute, but we're working with other districts around the world, particularly in Western Europe and also in Mexico and Brazil, to have our students get together with their students on Zoom calls a couple of times, at least once a week. And we have a structure around that, and there'll be more about that coming out soon. I want you to think about getting involved with our virtual exchange program. No cost to the club. We're going to do a lot of recruiting from interactors and other avenues, even social media. We're going to give that a try. So summer program and the virtual program will be easy for clubs, no host family responsibilities, and no costs. Next slide. So why should your club get involved? And I hope we're going to tell a compelling story to get clubs reinterested in youth exchange. We do know that foreign exchange students from around the world and here in the States also become future Rotarians. Indeed, 45% of returning international students, returning exchange students, will join Rotaract, which is also now Rotary. So 45% kind of attrition into Rotaract, and then onto Rotary membership. We know it builds relationships around the world. You know, this is the global age, and the students that come back have language abilities. They've seen other countries, other cultures, they've experienced other foods. They are interested in that, and the friends that they've made overseas, they stay friends with. And of course, social media is a great way for them to continue their exchange experience, and many of them do. We know that youth exchange experience helps develop young people into leaders. It gives them confidence. It gives them some style. It gives them some jazz to their outlook. They seem more confident. Their parents are always amazed at how their kids have grown up when they return home from a youth exchange experience. We do know also from what students tell us that their lives were changed. Their horizons were broadened for sure. They see the world in a different way. They're more sympathetic to people living in other countries. And they see that the United States is not necessarily the center of the world's attention. And for many, that is a kind of a humbling experience. And they tell us that this has broadened their horizons. They think differently about the world and about the United States. and they value the values that we have here even more once they come back. So it's a great way of helping students broaden their horizons and indeed change their lives in a new direction. And also, students' families, the host families themselves, have become engaged in Rotary. And many of them, they took a poll not long ago, and 30% of them said they would join Rotary if they were asked, which is another source, perhaps, of future Rotary membership. These are the reasons why I think your club should give Rotary Youth Exchange a chance. You're developing leaders, you're developing confident young people with a worldview. You have a great chance of recruiting a good portion of them and their families for Rotary membership. Next slide. Well, we've made administration of this program incredibly easy. You know, back in the old days, there was papers being mailed around the world, all kinds of difficulties and problems. Rotary Youth Exchange is managed on a wonderful system called YEAH, and you'll learn more about that if you decide to participate with us. Even then, we've taken most of the responsibility for administering the program off your shoulders. Most of the paperwork is done by the students themselves and their families, and that information is exchanged over the YEAH system to other districts and Rotary clubs around the world, and that's how we make our matches. So the old days of getting on the phone and a terrifying experience trying to dial overseas and speak to somebody in a foreign language, those days are all gone, and this wonderful YEAH system really keeps us on our toes, keeps the program well managed. Next slide. Here's kind of a timeline as we're looking for summer of 2022. So if you guys are interested, if you want to know more about the Virtual Exchange program and our summer program, want to get involved with us and help spread the word, let's do that now. My contact information will be at the end of this slide, but I'm fairly well known in the district. You can certainly find me, Hal Beals, and my Gmail account is hwbeals@gmail.com. So in July and August, we're going to start attending, actually sooner than July and August, but yeah, we're doing it. Actually, we're doing some of it now, but certainly for the summer program for next year, by the time July and August rolls around, we in the District Youth Exchange Committee will be visiting Interact clubs, of which there are about 23 Interact clubs in our district, where the interactors are a prime source of youth exchange students, I should say. And we're going to be visiting those clubs and getting materials out to those clubs and doing a lot of recruiting there. We may need some help with that. If your club sponsors an Interact club, we want to get with your liaison as soon as we can and start working in the direction of spreading the word about youth exchange to interactors. The start of school, looks like people will be going back to school. That's a wonderful thing. And when that happens, members of our committee and hopefully you and your clubs can get to your schools, speak with the language teachers and the counselors, develop a relationship with the language departments, spread the word about Rotary Youth Exchange that way. That's always effective. In September, we're going to be getting student applications. Those will all come to us over our YEAH portal. No paperwork for you guys at the club level to worry about. The students will be filling this stuff out themselves, and we've got ways through that portal to keep them on track and to remind them when things are due, how to get their passports, all that stuff that they need to do. It's going to be handled on this system. In October, hopefully we have enough applications to do some selection interviews. Those could be in person, maybe, or they could be online, as we're doing now. We do have a selection process. We do have questions to ask of the students and their families, because they're part of this as well. And just to be sure that we're working with kids that have the motivation, the ambition, and the stick-to-itiveness to make a successful exchange. Because going overseas and leaving your parents for up to 30 days can be a traumatic may be an overbroad word, but it certainly is an experience that not every kid is going to be able to handle. We'll do our best to select those that we believe will have the best chance of making a successful exchange. So in November and December, we're going to have some more district interviews. We're going to then also match the students with their host countries, as we call them, and get that word out to them that they've been matched to another country, and give them, of course, at that point, the contact information of the exchange family that they're going to be working with, so they can start meeting together on Skype or Zoom or whatever they need to do to get to know each other better, which is always a terrific thing. There'll be a couple of orientations for the students and their parents in July and in March, and then they leave in July. So it takes a while to get all this running. So we're going to start recruiting as soon as we can, July and August, and it's like that period of time between July and August of 2021, all the way through March of 22 to get things organized and get them on their way. Next slide. So here's kind of the three circles. We've got the club, the district, and the students. And the club responsibilities, we've organized this so it's going to be pretty easy for clubs. They can help us recruit some students. That would be wonderful. One student per club would just be fabulous. The interactors that come from your sponsored Interact Club would be considered sponsored by your club. There's one piece of paperwork that we would ask the club president to sign, basically, to kind of vouch for this student that we have selected. And that's about it from the club level. The students are responsible, and their families are responsible for all the application work that needs to be done, and the families pay all of the costs. So the families pay the costs of the airfare, the families pay the costs of the room and board for when the exchange student comes back and spends a month with them. No cost to the club, although we would like the club, if possible, to at least host these students if you're having in-person meetings or even virtual meetings, to invite them to one meeting and have them tell you about their experience. The district, that's the District Youth Exchange Committee, of which I'm the chair. We're going to do all the rest of the work as you see there. Place the students, we monitor each exchange, we handle the complete administration of the program. Next slide. Just a few great pictures here from exchanges in the past. These are remarkable young people. What we're looking at here on these slides are things from a couple of years ago. These are this group here. They were from Europe and from New Zealand, and they were just wonderful. Made great impressions with everybody that they came in contact with. Most of them admitted that when they came to the United States, they had one set of opinions about our country, but after living with us, living with an American family or families, they just had, their opinions were changed. So in many ways, it is a diplomatic program. Indeed, Rotary Youth Exchange is kind of supervised by the Department of State of the United States, because the diplomats realize that person-to-person diplomacy can be very effective, even at the youth exchange, level. So we've got some nice pictures here. You can keep advancing this, Henry, if you don't mind, just to show the attractive young people who are having fun together and having fun with their host families. We are very careful when it comes to host families. We want to be sure that the family that's going to be hosting the foreign student for that part of the exchange has been fully vetted with background checks for every member of the family who's over 18. We do know that unfortunate things can happen, and we want to prevent that as best we can. The safety of the student is our first priority. We will actually inspect the home. There'll be a home inspection. We want to be sure that the place is clean and there's a safe place for the student, a private place for the student, to sleep and to maintain themselves. And so we're looking for compatibility and safety, for the students. So we spent a lot of time checking out the host families. Next slide. So we do say that building a family and the club and Rotary is one of the benefits of youth exchange. There have been instances in which international projects have developed from youth exchange participation. The Rotary Club that is hosting a young person learns about their country, learns about their club, their sponsor club, connections are made that way. And when it's time to do international projects, international grants, you've already got a head start because you know somebody in another district and somebody in another club, and you can maybe team up with them and do great things in the world. Next slide. Just a brief summary on the short program costs. Right now, there's no cost to the club, and there probably shouldn't be. We do want, if possible, the students to attend at least one club meeting. If there's a meal involved, we want the club to pay for that meeting. If that's a meal for that meal, if you're still having meetings or having meetings, if not, if you're doing virtual, we want you to invite the students and give a little report, about their experience. The cost to the exchange student's family, $500 is our administration fee. We do have some expenses to manage this. The biggest expense these days is the background checks that have to be done. Those are done by commercial companies, and they do charge. Round trip airfare, of course, and perhaps a debit or credit card to take with the student when they go. The old-fashioned way of American Express traveler's checks, those days are gone. Cash is gone. You got to have a debit card with a chip on it to do any business anywhere in the rest of the world. So the family should supply their student, their kid, with some spending money. And then, of course, the host family provides the room and the board for the returning exchange student. So this is a family-to-family exchange. We're going to match your student and their host family with another student and their family in Spain or Italy or Brazil or wherever it happens to be. So your student will probably go there first, spend a month or a little bit longer with that family, and then the two students will fly back together on the same airplane, hopefully in the same row, fly back together to spend a month with their family here in the States, enjoying what the family does, eating the same food. If they're on vacation, they go on vacation with them, all those kinds of things. So this is a family-to-family exchange. More information about this program is on our website. You can see it right here. RotaryYouth5030.org is our website. We have information on that website in greater detail about the short program, as we're calling it. Also the summer program, which is a preferred name for me, is the summer program. Rotary calls it the short program, but summer program sounds better from a marketing standpoint. We also have information on there about our virtual exchange program, which we're developing now, which will be virtual, of course. We're looking at perhaps weekly meetings with the kids, and then perhaps a monthly meeting with the kids and the families. And they'll be exchanging information about their cities, their towns. We're going to ask them to make a video about themselves and their family, and just kind of be hanging out, if you will. Rotary, a member of our committee, will probably join those meetings because we do need to kind of monitor to be sure that people are working on the assignments that we have given them, which is basically making a video about themselves and about their family, and to exchange ideas about issues that are involved with young people, around the world. So we want to be sure that's happening. It's not just kind of hanging out and listening to music. So more information is on our website about our virtual program. We haven't started it yet. We're in the formative stages now. We're making connections around the world to bring students together. There'll be more about that when we actually launch it. So I believe that is the conclusion of my presentation. There's my contact information there. A key member of our committee is a member of the Mill Creek Rotary. That's Jeff Owen. That's his contact information there. So that's what I have to say. I'm welcome to answer any questions that you might have.
If anyone has any questions for Hal, just feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat before we go to Mike. Howard.
Hi there. Great presentation, Hal, as always. I'm curious, how do we find out which Rotarians in our district are past Rotary Youth Exchange students?
Well, we have a list of them. It goes back to 2015 when it all went automated. So we know who they are, and we know their email addresses at the time when they went on exchange. Now maybe that's all it changed has changed, of course, as they move around. But yeah, we have a list. Yeah, and we're in contact with them now.
Now, what about earlier than 2015? Like
You
people
know,
that
that's
are,
all on paper somewhere, and I can't tell you. I just
wouldn't
don't
it be
know.
wouldn't it be fun to have a Rotary Exchange reunion?
Yeah, that's a great
All the
idea.
people that were Rotary Exchange people. Maybe we can put a note out to each of the clubs and
That'd be
ask them to
fun.
find out who were Rotary Exchange
Yeah,
people
no,
back in the
that's a
day.
terrific idea. Terrific
Especially if
idea.
it started back in 1928. I'm sure there might be people from 1928 that are still in Rotary.
Well, I guess so. I don't know how we have to scour the nursing homes, Howard, and put up a sign at Aegis, and you might get quite a crowd. But I do think the idea for more recent, young people would be a great idea. We are looking for them, and we have a Facebook page that we're trying to contact them on. We're going to get on Instagram as well, and we want to kind of get a cadre of them to assist us in recruiting. And
Right.
also to get them active, on our committee, which would be very helpful for us. So great idea about the reunion. I like it.
So Martha, were you a Rotary Youth Exchange person from this district?
And I'm one of those who's not on the list because the RI's website won't let me even enter it.
Wow.
I tried. I was at Youth Exchange in '79.
Oh, wow.
And
Do you remember any people that might still be in Rotary, that you were with?
maybe.
We should catch up on that.
Because the family that hosted me was not Rotarian.
Yeah.
I remember going to the district assembly. I was in Bogota, Colombia. And I remember going to the district assembly and maybe a couple other youth functions that pulled all of us who were in the city together. But it was through my local, I was in Ohio at the time, and my local club there sent me. So I need to do a bit of digging. I don't have all the paperwork from that.
So Martha, I mean, is it true that this builds peace and better understanding cross-culturally?
Oh, yeah.
So
That's why I'm a Rotarian. I mean,
So who have you kept up with from your exchange?
My host family in Bogota, on and off. I actually took a vacation with them. It's almost been 25 years now, but we met up in Honduras, up on an island off of Honduras to go vacation together. But there are other exchange students that I was with.
Yeah.
There that were from Pennsylvania and another from Ohio that I kept in touch with. So it wasn't just the Rotary families, it was the other exchange students.
Yeah. So Howard, that's great, Martha. I'd love to chat with you if you're interested in joining with us on our Youth Exchange Committee here. It'd be great to have you. We're not doing much now. We're just getting ready for the summer program, coming up. Hopefully, in the years to come, if we get enough club participation, we'll get back to the long-term program.
Well, I'm bummed that West Seattle doesn't get to host your picnic this summer because there is no picnic.
That's right. There's no picnic. That's right. And we had to change the picnic. Actually, we did have a couple of picnics, but we brought them over to the east side because that's where most of our participation was coming from. And so we did have one picnic over here, but it's great to see you. I know we have met many times, I know, and because I've called on West Seattle. So it'd be great to just to kind of get your ideas. So I'll reach out to you if you don't mind. Maybe we can just have a little brainstorming session. We're going to try to use as I said, the summer program and our virtual program to rebuild interest here in the district.
Yeah, it does. A long time ago, after I came back from the exchange program, and actually once I was a Rotarian, the then Rainier Valley Rotary Club actually had me come and speak. And I gave a presentation on how Rotary changed my life twice because I was not only a youth exchange, I was an ambassadorial scholar.
Oh, that's
wow.
Through this
Yeah.
And I did a year of grad school in Costa Rica through 50/30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you're absolutely right. You're planting the seeds of future Rotarians through these scholarships and opportunities that cost more effort than dollars and are totally worth it in the end game. We have 2 members of our club that are members because their kids were exchange students. That's how they learned about the program. So it's valuable. It's not just money. It's sweat and experience, and it's so worth it.
That's great. Thanks.
Oh, we appreciate your work, Hal. I mean, this is the work you do for the district to make this happen is totally appreciated. You and Susan too, of course.
Hi,
Are we,
everyone.
Jenny?
Hi, Hal. We've met
Hi, Jenny.
before, and I saw Susan's here. I'm Jenny from Mercer Island Rotary Club.
Yes.
And my question is, as I'll be president in July.
Great.
Thank you. It will be my honor. And I'm trying to just get documentation. You know, this is not an exciting question, but I have a document from 2016, which is the youth protection policy. Is there an updated one to that, or should I use that?
You'll need to stay for our next presenter because Mike Madden is Mr. Youth Protection.
Oh,
And he
But
will
I'll answer that question right now and tell you, we'll get you a new one.
okay. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
the good answer. Thank you very much.
So Jenny,
Yes.
let me say that it'll be I would love working with you. You're new president, there, and Mercer Island does have an Interact club,
Yes.
and we in the past have been able to recruit, students from that Interact club. But we kind of hit a fallow period a couple of years ago,
Right.
where there was an unfortunate, there was a little bit of difficulty with one of the exchange students who was here on the
Yes.
long-term program.
Right.
But those days are behind us.
Yes.
And I think it'd be really great to get Mercer Island back involved with this, even our virtual exchange program and our summer program, because the work that the club has to do is at a minimum. I mean, there's no school stuff, there's no visa, there's none of the kind of the tension of finding multiple host families. That does not happen anymore.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm glad I came to this because I'm now updated on all
Good.
those instances.
Good. Well, I'd be happy to meet with you when we're able to do that, or even one of these virtual things, and see, kind of plant the seeds if we can do that with Mercer Island. So thanks for attending.
Of course. And if
All
I
right.
may say, I recognize the background and it looks beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Well, yes, thank you. That's all Susan's doing. She has a green thumb.
Well, it looks gorgeous. Thanks for answering my question.
Great. Super.
Yeah, so with that, we'll go ahead and kick it off to Mike Madden to talk about youth protection, and then we can have questions for either Mike or Hal at the end. So Mike, you want to take us away?
Yes, I will. And let's see, I'll get this PowerPoint into, there we go. Can everyone see it?
Looks good.
Okay, we'll go ahead. Okay, so thank you all for attending, and we're focusing right now on youth protection. As you've probably figured out, we have 3 major programs for youth in our district. We have Interact, and Susan Beals is the chair of Interact. We have Youth Exchange, and we have RILA. But in addition to that, we have lots of activities involving youth, and we want to know what do we need to do to make sure that we protect the youth in these programs and these programs keep going. This is the vision of Rotary International. I think we're familiar with it. We see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. So Rotary has a long history of working with youth, and each year more than 300,000 young people across the globe participate in our youth programs. There are many club and district mentoring activities. We do all kinds of activities involving youth at the club level and at the district level. So in addition to the 3 programs, there are just all kinds of things going on. And of course, this is what it's all about. These are some photos from Rotary Youth Harvest and from RYLA recently. And down here in the corner is our RYLA chair, Kate Mattos. So we want to focus on prevention. We want to make sure that we can continue these exciting programs with these really enthusiastic, energized young people. And we need to be aware of a few things. Rotary International acknowledges that no organization is immune to abuse or crises. We know that 1 in 10 people, 10% of young people, will be affected by either harassment or abuse. 2/3 of sexual abuse happens to children under age 18. And somewhere between 30 and 50% of offenders, depending on the study, are actually under age 18. The victims cross all ages, races, income levels. 90% of the time, the student knows the abuser. And in most countries, sexual assault is the most underreported crime. So those are things that we have to be alert for. So we have to be aware when we're conducting our activities. One of the measures that we've taken in our district is to adopt a district-wide youth protection policy. We've had that in place for several years, and every club is required to review and adopt the district's policy every year. And Jenny will get you a copy of the new one. This is a statement of conduct for working with youth. Rotary International strives to create and maintain a safe environment for all youth who participate in Rotary activities. To the best of their ability, Rotarians, Rotarian spouses and partners, and other volunteers must safeguard the children and young people they come into contact with and protect them from physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. Why did we implement the policy? Well, to protect youth, obviously, certainly. To protect our ability to have our youth activities free of taint and stigma. A policy is required. Actually, at the club level, Rotary International requires a youth protection policy. We already had something in effect for youth exchange, and we've established it to protect our Rotary volunteers. So Rotarians will know the rules of the road, be aware, and preserve their own reputations. And if something happens, to have procedures in place for managing. Our policy applies to adult volunteers. An adult is anyone who is 18 years of age or older who have contact with youth who are under age 18. And that could be in any of our 3 standard programs or in anything else we do with youth in our clubs. And there are lots of activities that we do that bring us in contact with youth. It includes all the Rotarians, spouses, partners, and non-Rotary volunteers. Youth is anyone under age 18. Rotary Youth Service is all of our district and club activities, including the standard programs, but everything else we do. A volunteer is any adult who is 18 or older who is involved in youth service. And just a reminder, this is what we get from being alert and protecting our programs and our reputations. And I think I went too far. There. So we manage the screening and protection of youth, the screening of volunteers at a couple of levels. There's screening for those who have what's called frequent and recurring contact with youth. That means someone who has an ongoing role in a Rotary Youth program, such as an Interact liaison or RILA counselors or RILA participants, host exchange students, or anyone who has an interaction on a regular basis. Outside our standard programs, Interact, RILA, and Rotary Youth Exchange, one of our clubs decided to do a peace project involving a local elementary school. We discussed the activities, and it turned out that they would be meeting with the students on the school premises several weeks in a row, and the same Rotarians would be in each session. So that was frequent and recurring, and these people went through the screening, the extensive screening that we do with Interact, RILA, or Rotary Youth Exchange. People who have casual contact and something infrequent are not required to complete the detailed volunteer screening. But we always recommend that any activity involving youth involve 3 people, any combination of students and adults. And whenever meeting with youth through Rotary, we encourage people to meet in groups of 3 or more people, any combination of students of adults, that we be as public as possible in our settings. If there is any overnight travel or accommodations involved, then that should be reviewed by a district youth protection officer. Each of our programs has a youth protection officer, and I'm the district youth protection officer, so if it doesn't fit one of the programs, contact me and we'll work it out. Transportation must have parental consent. And again, remember, keep to 3, not a single adult and a single unrelated youth in the same car, please. What does screening amount to? Well, there's a volunteer application, a personal interview. There are 3 references, letters of reference by non-Rotarians. There's a criminal background check and a national sexual offense registry check, national sex offender registry check, and youth protection awareness training online. So those are the elements of our screening. If you're considering a project or an activity and it's unclear where it fits, give me a call and we'll figure it out. Our district youth protection officers are empowered and charged with ensuring that volunteers are screened and that they complete the youth protection training before they participate. We maintain our documentation for 10 years. It's getting more automated for all our programs. A lot of the documentation is still in paper. We have 4 youth protection officers. For Interact, we have Susan Beals. For RILA, Kate Meadows. For Rotary Youth Exchange, Jeff Owen. And I'm the district youth protection officer. Our youth protection policy, which you will receive which Jenny will get a copy as president, incoming president. It also includes an appendix. So if something does go wrong, there's a track to follow. We recommend that you take any report of abuse seriously. I've seen studies suggesting that 90 to 95% of all accusations are accurate. So take any report of abuse seriously. We remove, obviously, remove the youth from the situation, make sure there's no contact with the person who's been accused. Report all allegations to the police and leave the investigation to the police. We do record what the youth says about the incident, and there's a description of how to do that in the appendix. And then we report the incident to the youth protection officer. And here's some Rotary Youth Protection resources. The district policy is on our website, and it will be remailed to each of the incoming presidents. We will ask that each president take the policy to their board, have the board review it and adopt it, and then return a certificate certifying they've done that. There's the Rotary International Youth Protection Guide, which gives a lot of information about youth protection. MyRotary.org has a training program, training section. We use the North American Youth Exchange Network sample training course. It's about a 1 hour long course. It's required for volunteers who have regular contact with youth. And it is very informative, very helpful. Once you've taken the course, you're much better armed. You know what the best practices are. And then whenever I can help, please contact me. Rotary International provides liability insurance to Rotary clubs, provided we're following our rules. So if there is an incident, our insurance coverage will indemnify our clubs. So at this point, next steps, read and adopt the district youth protection policy, so we can keep engaging with exciting, enthusiastic young people like this. Thank you all for coming. That's the end of my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I think I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Mike. So if anyone has any questions for Mike or for Hal, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can put them in the chat window also.
Hi, I'm Chloe Olson. I'm from the North Shore Interact Club, and I just want to let you guys know that we had a lot of members who are interested, and we'll hopefully be getting a lot of people signing up for it.
Wonderful.
Or applying for it.
Chloe, that's great. I thought you were from North Shore. I just wanted to say that I've attended several of your meetings. I've never been more impressed with any meeting in my life, practically, that you guys put together. It's just wonderful. So I'll tell you what, I have some information, kind of a one-page flyer that we're going to send out, to you, I think through Karen Lee or Carol Lee to get to you guys. That's going to come soon, and that'll have contact information on it regarding the virtual exchange.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
That's great. I think there's any interest in the summer program for 2022? How about yourself? You want to go to Italy?
I would, except I'm a junior, so that'd be the summer before I go to college, so I might be a little bit busy.
Well, you might be, but you could take a month off.
Oh, just do it. Just do it.
All right.
Just do it. Anyway, thanks, Chloe,
Yes,
very much.
just do it.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Mike, it's Howard.
Howard.
And when Rotarians go down to Harvest Against Hunger and do the packing party, a lot of times there's students there, or there might be a school attending. What do we suggest to members of Rotary who want to do that? Because they may not realize, they may just go down as a club event and then suddenly realize that there's people under 18 there that might be attending the packing party. So is it something where we would highly recommend any member getting involved in any service project, because kids could always attend, that they sign up and get screened?
I don't think that degree of exposure, just going down once and encountering young people at that event, I don't think you need the extensive screening for that. I do think it's a good idea for our clubs to be aware of kind of those 4 or 5 pointers. You know, groups of 3, stay in public, get permission for transportation. Those kinds of things I think people should be aware of. Now, if it happens on a regular basis and say the same Rotarian goes and gives rides to kids, and it's then they need the screening.
Right. What about if a club goes and distributes dictionaries to an elementary school?
Again, that's infrequent, casual, so you don't have to go through the elaborate screening for that.
Good to know. Thank you.
That do it?
I had a question for Hal, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Earlier, you gave a statistic, and I didn't hear all of it for whatever reason. And you said, I think you said 30%, use the number 30%, and I think you were talking about parents who might be interested in becoming Rotarians. Is that what you said? Did I hear that right?
You're hearing that right. That statistic came from a survey which was done by one of the international Rotary Exchange Associations called the North American Youth Exchange Network, which all of us in Youth Exchange are a member of. And they polled host families, and they found that 30% of former host families or even current host families would be happy to join Rotary if someone asked them. And of course, that's always been the problem of Rotary membership. I mean, my own wife, before she was a Rotarian, attended a bunch of Rotary meetings, and one day some nice Rotarian from Yakima came up and said, "Susan, are you a Rotarian?" And Susan, who was standing right next to me, said no. And this woman said, "Well, why not?" And she looked at me and said, "Because nobody's asked." So now, of course, Susan is a big shot in Rotary. So we owe it all to an off-the-cuff question from somebody from Yakima. So yes, we just got to ask. But 30% indicated they'd be interested in joining Rotary. That's a big number.
Well, maybe next year, part of the new membership recruitment committee could work with you and get names of host families.
Well, we've got names of former host families. There's no doubt. As Martha was an exchange student back in the day when all this stuff was on paper, and so the records are not there. I mean, I've asked RI itself to dig through the archives and what can you find, and they can't find anything. But since everything's been on this Yay portal, most districts in the world are on Yay. And so there's lots of data. It's just got to be pulled together.
So since 2015, we have names of host families locally.
Oh yeah.
We should contact them and
get them to Rotary. This is all good. This is all good. Yeah.
Great idea.
Good for you. You had the idea. Good idea.
We had the
idea. Jenny, and then Martha. Okay. Are you muted?
You.
God, you'd think by now I'd know that one. I do. Act on it. So sorry. The question for Mike, quick one. How long does the in-depth screening take?
That peace project for the it was Leshai Public Schools, and it was University District Rotary. It took them a while to get their project approved. So by the time that they actually got the green light from the school district and everybody involved, they had about 2 weeks to pull it together. Otherwise, they were going to miss their date. And we managed to get it done within 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
We also have a new system we've adopted this year, Youth Volunteer Management. So it looks a lot like the Yay program that Hal uses for Youth Exchange. It's all online and it's very easy.
Thank you.
Henry, don't worry about me. I completely forgot what my comment was. It was a very spur of the moment comment, and now it's gone.
Oh, I feel so good. Someone else does that. Yay.
I just know this is a great program, and I totally love seeing that we're trying to make it happen, even when COVID is here and it can't quite happen. Because in person is really the experience. Online, it's like being a pen pal, which was totally cool in the day too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's the modern day equivalent of pen pal. Oh, I kind of remember what I was going to say. When I did this, the obligation was not that my family be a host family. My family wasn't Rotarian either. And I was just hosted by a non-Rotarian family, and my family never hosted anyone. So I'm really interested in the fact that this now needs to be a family-to-family exchange, which has its benefits and its limitations. But I think it has more benefits because it's a more direct tie. One of the host brothers that I had in Columbia did come back to my district in Ohio, but he didn't stay with my family. And that was kind of cool because he was hanging out in my district the year after I came back. But I like the idea that you're requiring it to be a direct family to family. I think that makes it more intimate.
Yeah, that's the way the summer program works, and the long program, which I hope we get back to. We really require now that the students' family be a host family, because back in the old days, a generation ago, it was not hard to get Rotarians to step up to be host families because they had teenage children.
Exactly.
Very few Rotarians today have teenage children. They may have teenage grandchildren, but they don't have teenage children. And so there are maybe teenage great-grandchildren. So it's a very difficult thing to ask, people of my age and Susan's age to bring a teen. I mean, Susan would be happy to do it. She's far younger than I am. But it's difficult to get, people of our age to want to be host families. So we really have to require that the student's family, do this, or we just can't make the exchange work.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, this is Marilyn. I'm kind of the summer short-term, the other person who manages the summer program for the district. But in any case, even finding non-Rotarian host families for the long-term exchange program has just become extremely difficult. And so that's why the summer program is easier, because we already have a host family. That's just crosses one deep hurdle off of our list.
Yeah. I totally wanted to be a host family, but I'm single and I have no kids. And I thought, what a disservice that is to an exchange student to not have a family.
You're wrong. You could actually be a host family.
You could be a host family.
Oh,
Yes.
no, that would have sucked. If I would have been an exchange student and went, oh, I'm with a single woman, this old lady who lives with her cat, who wants to go there?
Right.
You need a family you need a family.
Yeah.
I hosted a GSE adult. That worked. But I think a youth exchange student needs a family with kids and needs that experience.
Good point. Great.
Awesome. Any last questions? Looks like we have about a minute or so, but we can go a few extra if we need. Any last questions? Awesome. So Hal, Mike, thank you again for presenting tonight. And for everyone else, this will be recorded. So if you forgot anything, you'll be able to watch it later.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you for
everyone.
coming.
Thank you for your
Have a good night.
information, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.